We thank you for the gift of knowledge, and we thank you for giving us the ability to also contribute to knowledge. We invite you this morning that come and be in our midst. Come and stir the affairs of the day. Make all our activities very successful. We bless you, we worship you. In Jesus' mighty name do we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. So to begin our plenary sessions this morning, I would like to introduce our chairperson who is sitting, and our chairperson is in the person of Right Reverend Professor Wusu Setre, a very distinguished academic and a distinguished man of God. He's also the Vice Chancellor for Cape Coast Technical University. Please let's give it up for our chairperson. Our chairperson, you are very welcome. And we'll ask for a short response, after which I'll introduce the speaker.
Thank you very much, MC, and good morning to all of you. And welcome to the second day of the conference. It's good to see all of you here. It was a good day yesterday. The proceedings went well, and I think the presentations were also very well done. We look forward to having another great session today. Look forward to listening to interesting presentations today, and I guess we all should be taking notes so that when we go back we can improve upon what we've been doing. With that said, I accept to chair the ceremony. I'm doing it on behalf of Reverend Professor Ishan, and we trust that this session and probably the other ones will go on very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So to introduce our speaker this morning, for the first session, he'll be talking to us on the topic entrepreneurship, industry, and university linkages. Our speaker is an economist, a member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. And previously, he's worked with the Royal Bank Limited as Senior Vice President and Head of Marketing, Research and Corporate Affairs. Currently, Dr. Kwame Amwa Banyako is the General Manager, Sustainability and Stakeholder Relations at the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let us welcome.
Put your hands together for Dr. Kwame Banyako. We can do it better. Put your hands together for him.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. And Mr. Chairman, I stand on all protocols. This is an academic conference, so the long list of introductions might not be necessary, I presume. So I've been asked to speak on entrepreneurship, industry, and university linkages. I hope that you can follow me when I roll my hand so that we can do this as quickly as possible. I intend to do this in 20 minutes so that we can then focus on the discussions. The key issues here, I'll be looking slightly at employment, skill acquisition, and entrepreneurship. Then I'll look at the link between theory and practice. I am lucky because I moved from academia and I've gone to industry. I intend to come back to academia. So I'm very much particular about that linkage, and that's what I'm trying to build. When we come to the last session, industry and academia linkages in practice, I'd like to share the experience of GNPC, how we are trying to put that in practice. So I'll discuss the theory, and then I'll come to practice. So you notice that most of the conversation will relate to theory and practice, academia, industry. Where does this linkage begin? So I hope to make it a bit more interesting. Can we go to the next slide? So, next. So somewhere in the year 1993, when I was a student at the first year student at the University of Ghana, and if the older people amongst us will remember, everything was about the year 2000, isn't it? We thought the world was coming to an end in the year 2000. So on campus, the University Christian Fellowship, they put posters all over campus. Hail the year 2000, Jesus is coming. But those of us into sports also had the point they made of Jesus is coming, is it a reality or an illusion? So if you remember, that was the phrase, reality or illusion. In the same year, 1993, Kumasi Asante Kotoko was playing the African Cup Champions League final. And as a Kotoko fan then, I also put posters all over campus. Kotoko for the Triple Crown, because that would have been Kotoko's third Champions League victory. Reality or illusion? It turned out to be an illusion, and they've never been to the Champions League final since then. But then, it forced me to create a word. So that word you see, the revolution, is my own creation. So reality or illusion, it's followed me throughout the things that I've done. I always ask the question, when a question is posed to me or a statement is made, I ask, is that reality or illusion? And so I've created Revolution. Wherever you see that in my presentation, I'm asking whether what I've stated is a reality or illusion, and then I'll come to trying to answer that. And that's the approach I'm taking for this presentation. So we'll start with employment, skills, and entrepreneurship. The topic is entrepreneurship, university, and industry linkages. But I thought I'll start with something a bit more controversial. Employment. Can we go to the next slide? So, Resolution 1, high graduate unemployment rate in Ghana. Is it a reality or an illusion? So we can have a conversation, because as we talk about entrepreneurship, we are talking about employability, whether people are looking for their own jobs or they are creating their own jobs. And so I asked the question, high graduate unemployment rate in Ghana, is it a reality or an illusion? So I want to take us to the definition of an unemployed person, and I'll give you some key words in the UN definition. The key words are that the person has to be out of work and actively looking for work. Remember the word actively, isn't it? So actively looking for work and has not found one in the last whatever period. So if we are looking at unemployed people in the last month, we are saying how many people of working age, so they have to be of working age, are out of work, actively looking for work, and cannot find one. So the young boys and girls you see at the traffic lights, selling all sorts of things, are they unemployed? Are they unemployed? Are they actively looking for another work? So that's the debate, isn't it? So is the issue unemployment or underemployment? So the cons people have so many different other definitions. Employment, underemployment. Underemployment means he has a skill set, but he's underutilizing that skill set. So maybe whilst you can say that they are underemployed, can you say that they don't have a job and they are actively looking for one? So that's the question. So we need to, no, go back. So, but the question is, even if they are actively looking for a job, so somebody finishes university and says, I want to work at GMPC. So he's focused on getting a job at GMPC and no other place. Is that person unemployed? He's unemployed, isn't it? He's actively looking for a job, isn't it? But the question you need to be asking, what type of job is he looking for? Is it the problem that the type of job they are looking for is not available, or there are no jobs? You need to start asking these questions to your students as they start thinking about getting out of school. There's an issue between the job, I'm looking for a job, no jobs, and the type of job I'm looking for. If everybody is focused on getting the office tie one that I am very lucky to have, and do 8 to 5, it's a bonus, isn't it? But would everybody, the rest of where in the world does everybody do 8 to 5? It doesn't exist. So maybe we need to start preaching a different story to our up and coming graduates. I'll come back to the issue of whether no jobs or the type of jobs they are looking for. is what is not available. I remember when I was at the University of Ghana, I was teaching economics. And I used to ask my students, I gave them an example. You know the Legon Ho JCR, it's called timeout. I asked how many of them are broke, and virtually everybody raised their hands. They said they all think they are broke. And I asked them, if I had a cleaning job at the JCR, which paid as much as is charged in the UK for wiping tables, how many of them would do it? Only 10% said they would do it. The reason being that they are shy of cleaning tables at the JCR for their other colleagues to see them. But when we went out doing our masters and our PhDs, what were we doing? We were cleaning the tables, wiping, isn't it? Mopping floors. A lot of us have traveled abroad, done our masters and PhD degrees abroad. What do we do to support the income we want? Is it not the same cleaning jobs? But would our kids do the same thing? If even you are paying them that same amount, would they do it? That's why I said I got 10% of them. You are saying yes. So you are part of the 10%, isn't it? 90% of them said they won't do it. And me and you know the majority of the kids we are raising today won't do that job. There is no way. So the question I keep asking, is it that there are no jobs or the type of jobs they are looking for are not available? We need to break that myth before we can move the next step forward. I'm talking from an academic who's gone into industry, and I'm seeing where the real challenges are. I'll give solutions as well as we go on. So can we go to the next slide? So the question then is, if a young guy gets out of school, how does he determine, how does a young graduate identify what income-making opportunities exist without writing a CV? Is that not what you are asking them to do in the entrepreneurship class? That they should create jobs for themselves, isn't it? That's what entrepreneurship is about. Find a way of creating your own job. So today I'll give you one solution that one of my professors, postgraduate degree outside, said. Bill Easterly said that every inefficiency is someone's income. So as professors working in the applied area, what you should be telling your students, the project work that you're giving them should be focused on identifying inefficiencies and looking for solutions. Whether it is science, whether it's in the service industry, everything is about identifying an inefficiency and creating a solution. When the man Zoom Lion came to Ghana, he says, you saw filth, isn't it? What did he see? He saw money. Because that was an inefficiency, begging for a solution. And all that he did was, he didn't have to clean. Has he ever cleaned any of your streets before? But he's the billionaire, not the one cleaning, isn't it? All that he did was to identify an inefficiency and find a solution for it. So what you should be telling your students when they are thinking entrepreneurship, it's look around your communities. What are the inefficiencies in the community? I come from Ofuansi Kokobe in the Ashanti region. I decided to go back there, build a house where I can go to every 2 weeks and relax. From here, I'm going straight to the village. I spend my weekends there. But for about 6 months, I didn't even know how to dispose of my refuse because it's a new developing part of the town. I didn't even know how to. So I who had just finished university. And I said, you keep complaining that there are no jobs. But in this community, there's an inefficiency looking for people to make money out of it. Why don't you come together with a few of your friends, put your 1,000, 2,000 and those things you have together, buy one abuboya and come to me. I'll pay you and others will pay you to collect the refuse. You don't have to sit on the abuboya. Do they have to do that? No. I'm not asking you, the graduate, to sit on the abuboya going around. Just put your money together and get somebody to ride the abuboya. Do you know what a young man did? He went to Zoom Lion and told them that I need my refuse collected. So Zoom Lion is charging me 35 Ghana cedis every month to collect it, and he's still unemployed. I had given him a solution, a money-making option. What did he do? that's not for him. So I'm saying that inefficiencies should be the basis of the project work that you give to your students. When they come to you and they come with a topic, ask them what problem is it solving. If it doesn't solve any problem, it won't make money. If that project work doesn't solve any problem, it won't make money. Nobody will buy or support that project work if it doesn't solve a problem. So if you don't hear anything at all from me today, just remember the words of Bill Easterly. He says, every inefficiency is someone's income. The guy who introduced cocoa cane saw an inefficiency. All of us were rushing out early in the morning. We don't have time to take breakfast. So if I put people on the streets, I'm solving an inefficiency. He ended up supplying food to the airline. Every inefficiency is someone's income. And for those of you in the applied sciences, nobody eats your research findings. It's what inefficiency that research finding is able to resolve, which is important for industry, that gets paid for. So I'll come to bridging the gap later on. So, but these are the things we need to accept as quickly as possible. Like I said, I intend to come back to academia, but I already have a whole number of topics I think I can write on and still make money out of it. Because I know what industry is looking for, isn't it? Because I've been there. Came from academia, 13 years of teaching economics at Legon. I thought there was something still missing. I knew what is supposed to be done, but how? So maybe some of the differences will bring them out as I talk. The difference between academia and the industry, academia knows what needs to be done. Industry knows how it is to be done. But then I'll also tell you the weakness of industry. But because they don't have the theory, when circumstances change, they struggle to adapt. The banking sector collapsed in Ghana. I can explain how it was more of an issue of people who have been trained in how something is done, but not why it is done that way. So when the environment changes, they struggled. Difference between industry and academia. Industry might know why we do certain things. That's a theory, isn't it? Theory will tell you what is to be done, but practice says this is how it is done. But then there's a challenge with somebody who has practice without theory, because he doesn't know the assumptions underlying the model. So once the assumptions change, he struggles to adapt. And that's why so many businesses collapse along the way, even they start so well, because they know how it is done, but why they are doing it the way that they are doing it, they probably do not know. Can we move on to the next slide? I don't want to spend too much time. So the second one, Revolution 2, entrepreneurship skills are acquired and inherited and not acquired. I'm sure you hear a lot of these, that, oh, these guys are born with a spirit of entrepreneurship. My position is that there are aspects of entrepreneurship that can be taught, and people can be guided in these areas. So for instance, the choice of a project. Like I said, I've already told you one way work you should do, isn't it? I can teach that to students. Project choice, either through mentoring and coaching. So there are skill sets that can be taught, entrepreneurship skill sets that can be taught. You can also teach people skills by volunteering. I started, and I can say that where I've gotten to, 70% of that was done to the amount of volunteering that I've done in my life. So I volunteered the school jerseys at Opoko High School when I was in Form 1. I used to watch the school jerseys, and it got me the chance to sit on the school bus free of charge. I didn't have to pay. By the time I got to Form 3, because I had been traveling with the team a lot, I was made a team manager. So team manager for all sporting disciplines. So they used to call me OAS TM. So I got to learn about every sport. I hope you're getting my drift. I got to learn about every sport. So even today, I even watch cricket. I watch cricket, I watch tennis, so my DSTV. I think I benefit more from DSTV than anybody else. Because I watch every sport, because I understand every sport. And for the record, once you understand the rules of any sport, it's interesting. That's a trick. Get somebody to explain the rules of that sports, and you have a new sports to follow. That's the thing about sports. Once you understand the rules, you are there. And because I did that, I volunteered all those things, I got to know about all these sports. And then because I was a team manager, that's where I built my managerial skills. Just last week, when I was preparing for this, it just got to me that I was organizing the Opokuwari school team to prepare for Interco, their jerseys, the food they will eat and all, at the age of what? 15 years. Remember, in Form 3, you go to Form 1 at the age of 12. By Form 3, I was only 15 years. But I had built the ability to organize because I had been given the opportunity through volunteering. And is that also not internship? That's also internship. So where did it lead me? By the time I came out of school, I went to University of Ghana. When University of Ghana set up Radio Universe as a volunteer station, I volunteered to serve. Professor Kwesi Yanka listened to me a couple of days, me talking sports and giving out facts, and he said, why don't you focus on the sports journalism part and not the DJing part? That's mentoring, isn't it? He just directed me into an area that he thought, but it started with me volunteering to do something for free. How many of your students are volunteering their services for anything? Because through volunteering, I got in mentorship, I got interned, and I came out. And so by the time I got out of sports radio, I was ready for football management, isn't it? I met Otunfo at Harvard. Whilst I was doing my PhD, he had come there to present a paper in chieftaincy and development. He sat at the Boston Museum of Arts and Sciences. We all went there to pay homage to the old man. He asked me where I'm from. I said, of Francis Okokobeni. He said, oh, I know the place. I know your Queen Mother. What are you doing? I said, I'm doing something in the economics of sports. I'm learning to write papers in the economy. Oh, that's interesting. When you come to Ghana, make sure I see you. I came to Ghana 2006 during the World Cup. I was focused on watching the Germany World Cup. I got a call from Menchia one day. The old man wants to see you. He's forming the new board of Kotoko, and I want you to speak for them. Because he had heard me on my Adum FM program called Kwame's Diary. I started the first opinionated sports program on radio. I said, I also have to share my opinion. Journalism school tells you that as a journalist, you state the facts and allow others to share their opinion. I disagreed. And that's where Countryman Songo picked his program from. Because I put him on his first international foreign commentary. And then when I left for Harvard and I stopped Kwame's Diary, he decided to do Fire for Fire, which is that's where it came from. Because I started writing my opinion and my thoughts. This time it was radio. He moved it and notch higher to what? Television. So whenever he's fooling on radio, I'm the only person who can call him and tell him, you need to know the difference between criticism and critiquing. That's where he doesn't get it. He confuses critiquing with criticism. But that's just by the way. So, but there are other aspects of entrepreneurship that cannot be learned or cannot be taught. How to determine who to trust in partnerships. Can somebody teach you that? And that is why a lot of people in Ghana want to own 100% of a small business rather than 20% of a big business. It's all about trust, isn't it? Probably our culture as well. So in teaching entrepreneurship in your classrooms, can you teach them how to determine who to trust to go along with? Or when to use other people's money, what we call OPM in finance. When you want to start your business, you don't start your business with other people's money. You don't go to a bank and ask them for money when your own father is not prepared to invest in your business. The people who know you, your friends, your family are not prepared to put money in your business. It means you have not been able to convince them of your idea. So if the people who know you don't trust your ideas, why would a bank trust your ideas? So it's something, sometimes the problem is not really finance. My father, who is also a professor of economics, did a paper years back and showed that the business of the problem of small and micro businesses is not really finance. Because people have made money and still they have collapsed, isn't it? We have not been able to transcend from a 2-3 generation company. How many of them exist in Ghana? Where the first generation handed over to the second generation, and then the second generation handed over to, and it still survives. How many businesses are there? So the problem might not necessarily be finance. There's something more. We want to have everything to ourselves. We don't want to trust. If you don't want to trust, then you remain small, isn't it? And when you remain small, you can't take advantage. So where are the airlines? CityLink, Amtrak. These were the first ones which came, isn't it? Shouldn't they be the bigger ones by now? They refused to adapt to changing circumstances. So when Starbull came in, Amtrak and CityLink could not survive. And then the new ones came in, Starbull also went down. Why is it that way? We need to look for. It's more about the same entrepreneurship skills and mentorship and being prepared to trust. Because so long as you remain small, you cannot compete when big money comes to town, isn't it? But if you can combine, how many mergers ever happen in Ghana? How many of you ever hear of mergers in Ghana? You said? Unless they are forced by the liquidator, isn't it? So maybe we need to rethink the entrepreneurship, the kind of things we need to be focusing on when we are teaching the students about entrepreneurship. Because they might be able to raise the money, but they cannot go forward because of these soft skills that are not taught. I hope you understand. Can we move on? Then there's Resolution 3. This goes direct to you in academia. Ghanaian universities are not producing the right quality of students for industry. Is that true? It's debatable, isn't it? Okay, so Prof says it's debatable. So what is my thinking around here? Can we go to the... For me, my thinking around this is that it's less in quality of teaching. The problem, if there's even a gap between academia and industry, it's less of a problem of quality of teaching. But I think because I've been there are gaps in the teaching aids and infrastructure available for professors to use. Because we have our professors, they've gone to the best universities in the world. They competed with their colleagues outside the world, isn't it? I think there's a slide. Can we go back? Let me see if I've missed a particular slide. Can we go back again? Is there a repetition? No, go back. No, go for it. Go for it. Okay, I missed, go for it. Let's go here. I was talking about the gaps. So there are gaps in terms of the teaching and infrastructure. If you compare Ghanaian universities to universities abroad. So I did a whole year PhD class, Harvard, held my own. One of the questions I keep asking, the people who make these comments about universities not producing the right quality of students for industry, most of them have gone through our universities, haven't they? They go to our universities in Ghana, probably go outside, add 1 or 2 degrees, and come back. All of them think they turned out well, isn't it? Which of them says, I didn't turn out well because I went to a university in Ghana? None of them. Everybody thinks they turned out well. When Ghanaians produce undergraduate students who go abroad, aren't they able to compete with their counterparts abroad? We are examples of that, isn't it? We all did our undergraduate year, went abroad, we competed favorably. So if we were not properly trained, how did we compete at that level? I'm just asking these questions. When I meet my friends, when they make these comments, I make the same thing. I think I turned out well. I went to Harvard, but I was prepared to go. I was prepared by University of Ghana to be able to withstand Harvard training, isn't it? I sat there probably with the top 19 economics PhD students in the world in the Harvard PhD class. They got their A's. I also got my A's. They went to undergraduate universities in these foreign countries, isn't it? But I got the same degree as postgraduate qualification as them. So why does anybody think that the training we get in our universities is terrible? and it's of no use. We understand there are gaps. Let's recognize it. When I went to my Harvard first lecture, I'd gone with my notebook, like I've been taught in Legon, isn't it? My notebook and my pen, I was going to copy notes. I walked in the classroom, all my colleagues were holding a Lenovo ThinkPad. Turn it, flip it outside down, pull out the pen. This is 2006. 2005, 2006. My Harvard colleagues had their Lenovo ThinkPad, which is basically a tablet, in 2005, 2006, and they were writing it and it was typing it out for them. I was writing on a sheet of paper. That's how I've been taught. The professors focus, even when it's the theoretical aspects, they focus on teaching you how to apply the theory rather than deriving the equations. So if the equation to how to calculate the standard deviation, they'll put it in Excel, isn't it? You don't need to derive. At Legon, I was teaching my students the same level of class how to derive the equation. They had gone ahead and say, you don't need to learn how to derive it, how to apply it, isn't it? So he goes to Excel, puts the data in, and he focuses on explaining to them how to interpret the results. But your student at Legon or at KTU is being taught to derive. So when he finishes deriving the equation, the next thing will be what? So he spends all the time on a lot of the unnecessary parts, and the semester is over. And so when he goes into industry, he knows the formula for deriving the equation. But does industry care about the formula? They don't. They care about the application. So he spent too much time focusing on the derivation rather than what? The application. So he feels he's out. Thank you. So I believe that there are gaps in teaching, gaps in quality and quantity in research done. But what is the solution? Instead of industry complaining about the gaps, they should focus on doing what? Helping us deal with the gaps. The quality of students they are looking for through scholarships, internships, and job offers. Who should pay for you to benefit? Industry should direct academia as to where you want research to be done. And how do you do that? Is he who pays the piper who calls what? The tune. Bring us the money, we'll do the kind of research you want us to be done. Instead of just focusing on, oh, the quality of research is bad. We can say that for eternity, isn't it? So that's the next. Can we quickly? So go to the next slide. So I just wanted to resolution 4. They say the academics focus too much on theory with little relevance to practice. But as Yogi Berra said, there's no difference in theory. In theory, listen carefully. In theory, there's no difference between practice and theory. In practice, there is. So in theory, there's no difference between theory and practice. But in practice, there is a difference. But of course, we also know that theory is just abstracted practice. What is theory? We have looked at what has been done over time, collected the data, and developed a model out of it, isn't it? It's abstracted practice. And practice is what? Applied theory. When somebody wants to build a car, he uses so many different models of motion, velocity, and those things to work on developing a car, isn't it? It's so many underlying theories. But he says, I know how to build a car. You only know the theory. But the car you are building is based on theories. Various theories of motion, velocity, gravity, whatever it is. So there's always a link between what? Theory and practice. So this idea that you don't need theory, but all you need is practice, it doesn't exist anywhere. As an academic, you need to figure out what value your theory provides for those who practice. That's the only reason why they will put money in your research. If you cannot convince the theory application to what you are doing, why would GMPC put money in your research? It's of no relevance. Meanwhile, for practitioners also require theory to understand why they do things the way they do them. Otherwise, when the assumptions and the environment changes, they struggle. Virtually all the car manufacturing models, are they not done in laboratories. Testings are done in laboratories with professors who have researched various aspects of. So we might need to redo the thinking. Practice, if we're really going to go into industrialization and manufacturing, it starts with a relationship between industry and academia. Next. I'll just finish So I just wanted to go back. I just wanted to go back to a few points. Action, so for how does the academia bridge the gap? Action research or the use of case studies. If you go to the companies and you study them and then you come back and tell them after studying you, these are the challenges. I did a case study of you, but these are the challenges. This is how you can improve. Won't they give you money to do further research? So that is where it begins. Action research and case studies, showing that industrial practice is based on a combination of several theoretical underpinnings. That's how you bridge the gap. You can convince them that your theory or research is relevant for them, they won't put their money in that. And how does industry also bridge it? Modernizing university curricula. How do they help you to your training? What are they looking for? Once again, it still comes up to, it's when they put money in. I've done that and I'll show you how this is done in practice. So that's why I said industry academia linkages in theory. This is how it's done. But how is GMPC approaching this? So industry is supposed to give you internships, learning factories. Learning factories are basically factories set up on university campuses purely for teaching purposes. But the people setting it up know that the outcome of that research directly impacts their activity. So that's it. So let me quickly run through how GMPC as a corporate body is putting that into real practice. So these are the linkages. These are examples. Move forward. So in practice, this is what GMPC started with. So you put your money where your mouth is. In 2018, we set up these 4 professorial chairs at KNUST, UG, UMAT, and UCC, giving each of them $250,000 per university per annum. The idea is that over a 4-year period, each of them would have had $1 million to upgrade their laboratories, acquisition of teaching aids, and support postgraduate training and staff development. So they've sent some of their staff on to do their PhDs with the monies that GMPC gives them. Next, I'll just round up. Academic infrastructure. So whilst helping them with the teaching aids, you need to also help them with infrastructure. Currently, we've done phase 1 of the School of Petroleum Studies at UMAT, applications laboratory at UNAIR. We are building a sickle cell and blood center at Komfano Teaching Hospital. It's going to be the biggest one in the whole of West Africa. It's about 80% complete. We've gotten approval to do an office and lecture hall complex for Koforidua Technical University. It's at the procurement stage. Office and lecture hall complex at UNAIR. An extension of the administration block at KNUST. And then we are building a hospital block for UPSA. And then office and lecture hall complex for the University of Ghana Business School. In terms of research and development, we are setting up a research and development center on the Spintex Road. Civil works 80%. The idea here, it will be the center to coordinate a lot of applied research, especially in the petroleum area. So we are putting money where our mouth is. Professors will be brought in there on sabbatical to work at these laboratories, come up with new ways of doing things in the mining, engineering, and petroleum areas in Ghana. And like I said, it will provide testing facilities for industry, utilizing the capacity of universities and applied universities in Ghana. And we've also done these scholarships. I'm sure a lot of your universities have students who have benefited from this. Since 2017, 5,550 young boys and girls have gotten scholarships under the GMPC local scholarship, 800 masters and 188 PhDs since 2017, 5 years. 1,371 have completed, over 4,000 are still yet to complete. For foreign scholarships, we've given 295 scholarships since 2017, 262 masters, 32 PhDs, just to build the capacity of universities in Ghana. 157 completed and 138 run. Finally, we have this GMPC scholarship, medical students in Cuba, 200 scholarships awarded in 2018, 170 for undergrads, and 30 specialists. Unfortunately, one of them passed away because he had a complication. And this is where we put the theory into practice at GMPC. So there's a link between theory and practice. Industry has to put their money where their mouth is. So let me just remind you of these few things that I said so far. The types of jobs graduates are looking for may be in short supply. We need to rethink. Every inefficiency is someone's income. Academics need to emphasize what value their research provides for practice. Industry needs to put their money where their mouth is, just as GMPC is doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame. We can do it better. Put your hands together for him. He's done so well. Great contribution by GMPC towards higher education in Ghana. So we want to proceed to the second speaker who will be coming up. I'm going to pick a quick information for my co-MC. All right, so now it's resolute. We are going to have the next session with a speaker from the Association of African Universities. She is the Quality Assurance Specialist, Workshops Coordinator, and also the project lead for the harmonization of African quality assurance and accreditation. And a prolific speaker, an advocate for quality assurance all over the continent, and she's so passionate about quality. I call her the quality madam in my own stead. And she'll be coming up here to do her presentation on technological innovations in engineering, the topic. Let's call upon Dr. Violet Makoko. Put your hands together, Dr. Makoko. Let me give you it. Let me help you. Yes. We can do it better for her, as she gets ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yes, allow me to stand on the protocols which have already been established. And I think, I don't know how I'm going to fit my things in the time that I've been given by Ajaman. It is scary because when I look at myself, and the way I've worked at continental level, the things that I've done, the time he has given me, we will see from the institutional evaluations, from academic reviews and so on. I had a lot to share, but let's see how it goes. Previous speaker, please, may you stand up and come close to me. Is the VC for STU or the registrar, there's something and he has said, which I've always said all the time. And I told people whom I've addressed earlier that for me to be here today as a continental and global person, that is the thing which I did. Can somebody tell us what he said he did, which made him rise through the ranks and get recognition? Yes, so is my brother. Registrar, you remember how many times when I come to Sunyani Technical University, when I address any gathering, just any gathering, I tell them it's because of volunteering that I'm where I am. Even then, addressing the issue of employability and things, I always talk about a tailor, a dressmaker who is very, very good, but nobody knows about them. Because they are in there, nobody has won what they've done to go out and say, yo, so this was made by so-so, located so-and-so, you can go and have your own. That's number one. Number two, you can still be a good barber. But if you always stay in there, no into starting, but universities coming into the field of traditional universities, which have already been recognized and outstanding. What does it take for you to convince that you can equally perform like them? Because I remember very well when the polytechnics were turned into technical universities, the talk was, what are they going to do? Are they going to match up with us? Ladies and gentlemen, no. In most cases, not that I'm selective. I do not want to align with the big brothers, because now the big brothers are having names. I want to do my programs out of Accra, if it is in Ghana, out of Harare, if it is in Zimbabwe, out of Joburg or Pretoria, if it is in South Africa. Why? Because we need to go there and lift up so that the whole country, the whole continent can actually enjoy, can actually be recognized with what they are doing. At this moment, frankly speaking, you know, the Vice Chancellor of KNUST came yesterday. I think I did like 3 programs there for international programs there, such that people need to fly into Accra from other countries and then catch another flight to Kumasi, catch another flight to UDS. It happened, and the people came. But the issue is, I just want to drive to the point that technical universities, 10, am I right, 10 or 11 now, 10 technical universities, you need to stand up. Branding, institutional visibility. And in that regard, along those lines, I therefore want to congratulate you for this event. It puts you on the national map. It puts you on the continental map. It puts you on the regional map. It puts you on the global map. But Prof. Ben, stand up, say, I always follow him. In that aspect, he means business. But I told him something. Imagine if we are 200 right now, and I push a tweet that I'm speaking here at the Technical Universities in Ghana Annual Applied Research Conference. Huh? And we all retweet, we share, we love. He does it. But I told him he has got more student numbers than the Association of African Universities. It was our discourse beginning of week. You can sit down, say thank you. He is trying, but now he needs to mobilize both staff and students. Why? We need to build a brand. We need to build a brand for our technical universities so that these days, if people are looking for people to employ, or if you apply for a job, what they do is that they go to LinkedIn. Maybe they find you or they don't find you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today, at tea break and lunch, if you are not on LinkedIn, go there. Go there. You need to tell the students to go on LinkedIn. At least we are talking about industry, entrepreneurship, and also we will talk about more. But I'm starting with the end. Why we are doing all these things. Some people want jobs. Some people want to generate their own companies and also create employment. So go there, have a LinkedIn account, vice chancellors, registrars, and anybody who is in the university leadership. Go and encourage both students and staff to join LinkedIn. At least LinkedIn is a highly professional, decent, beneficial. I can go on and on to describe the LinkedIn, but be there. Because that's your space to be recognized. And then you go to Facebook. You also go to Twitter for the right reasons. Because the employers will now check. If they say, oh, but he is on LinkedIn, on Twitter he has posted something rubbish. No, we can't employ somebody like this. So be careful what you are posting on social media and where it can go. Right now, information travels at the speed of lightning. Right. Going back, ladies and gentlemen, I am not an engineer. But what I'm going to talk about is what can benefit those engineers and everybody else. And I think I'll gain a plus for that other than a real focus on engineering alone. Having said that, I'm just going to move along with 2 words, relevance and transformation. Relevance and transformation. Right now, we can't deny, with the 4th industrial revolution, it started before 2016. And also with the spare by the COVID-19 pandemic, which even put us into a corner to now accept what we have been denying. We have no choice. Right now, some institutions were saying that they want to go back to face-to-face. When COVID-19 pandemic came, we had lockdowns. I can tell you now, I want to move to 4 things. What are the 4 things? Culture, mindset, attitude, and the way we normally do things. Take note of those 4. Culture, attitude, mindset, and the way we normally do things. Everything else I'm going to say hereafter is based on those 4. So looking at it, a practical example, with the COVID-19 pandemic, lockdowns came. Within 2 weeks, I can give an example. Valley View University in Ghana was already open. 2 weeks. Some went up to a month, something about these four. And right now, after everybody else had invested a bit or a lot into ICT infrastructure and internet services, you hear a whole vice chancellor, a whole institutional leadership going to announce in front of everybody that now we are going back to face. And all the students are saying, no, we can't do that. Do you not have ears to hear, eyes to see, and whatever else to use to smell what is prevailing? The students are right. If anything, we are going to blend it. I say, if anything is what? It's blended. Because if you now go back to face, and also the Tema Aba is automated, Coca-Cola is automated. Every week we hear from the banks, we are upgrading the system. So where are they going to practice without the ICT knowledge and skills? So you staff and lecturers, you need to practice. You need to learn not to join the Zoom meeting, but even to generate a Zoom account for yourself. Because even up to now, there are people who cannot join Zoom without a meeting ID and a passcode. Now, we are in 2022. COVID came in 2020. Zoom came 3 months later. And now we have been with Zoom for all this time. Some of the trainings that I'm currently doing are even to do with how do you generate your own account on Zoom, which allows you not to use the institutional account for your family meetings, but to use your own 40 minutes free account to do meetings with friends, business meetings, or any other meetings with relatives and so on. The Bible said, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Is it true? Is it true? So, going on, it was saying I'm supposed to address something on engineering, but this applies to everybody. It applies to everybody that some people, when COVID-19 came, they thought there were no pieces of equipment to do the practical oriented disciplines, but it's not true. Around 2010, I remember doing some workshop where I was even saying, the things we need are out there. All of them are out there. Even how to teach engineering, agriculture, what have you, medicine, music, digital, what? It is there out there. Those practical oriented disciplines, you can use micro labs, simulations, and some of them even have an advantage that you can carry out some activities and experiments which in the real world could be very dangerous. So you do them in a micro lab. But are we looking for that knowledge, for those skills, for those software platforms that we need to use? You are in the technical field, and you are the people to run around all the time to look for those things. Having said that, I just want to say our leadership. Our leadership needs to be agile. Our leadership needs to be accommodative. I've had the privilege of working with the Vice Chancellor of Technical University, Vice Chancellor Sunyani Technical University, and the leadership. Who else? I saw their staff. The way they come to them, it's brotherly, it's sisterly. I don't see power differentials. I don't know when they are in office how they behave. But where I saw them, some of them we intermingled. 3 days I went back. I came again for the, you see, the registrar. So what are you saying? Oh, VC, tell me, you wouldn't do that to somebody who is so rigid, always tense, and think leadership is a label. Vice Chancellor, registrar, what? Leadership is not a label. What is it? It's a personality. Leadership is not a label. Vice Chancellor, registrar, librarian, what? No, forget it. There's a position, there's a label, but there are leadership qualities. And it's those leadership qualities which a person who is put into a leadership position with a label, Vice Chancellor, label, registrar, would practice. So what would that kind of a leader do? That kind of a leader will not look at the age of the staff who is advising on something. You will, or she will not look at the position of the staff who wants to initiate something. Will not look at the gender of the person who is advising or who is coming with an initiative. Everybody, where you are a leader. Where I'm given an opportunity, in addition to volunteering, when I get there, I think you agree with me that when you have a funeral, a wedding, what at your home, somebody whispers, Ruth is not going to be here. Oh, it's not going to be here. So who is going to organize for us? Apparently, Ruth is only 25 years old. All the elders who are 60, 40, they are put off just because Ruth, who normally organizes their functions, is not there. Leadership, regardless of age, regardless of anything, a person can be a leader. And all those who assume you can't, in meetings, you really feel that, oh, I want to say this point, but who am I? I'm a woman, I'm 22, I'm a new employee. That's another one. Poisonous. You are a new employee. When will we cease to define you as a new employee so that now you become active and start contributing to the institution? You are new staff. So, opportunities are running away from you. Right? So, in the interest of time, I will look at, I said relevance and transformation. I'm moving. Relevance and transformation. What do we need to do now as technical universities? New programs, curricular review, equipment. And people will tell me, Doc, even if we want to have equipment, we can't because we don't have the resources. Technical universities, never again should you give an excuse that you can't have this because you don't have money. A government cake has been cut off. Why? The 5 Asian tigers, including Singapore, it's TVET which brought them up. So, demonstrate here and now that because you are TVET institutions, you can do it. And if you say you can't replace the pieces of equipment to have modern equipment, what is going to happen to those students who will graduate and go and find new pieces of equipment there, what will happen to them? You should strive to get the new pieces of equipment, the new software, and so on to use. Knowledge and skills, teaching approaches. You are not the fountain of knowledge. Even in a medical school, you find lecturers justifying, oh, medicine, you know it's difficult. So, because they are first-year students, because it's the first semester, because it's the first course that they are doing, because they are in level 100, I need to tell them a bit about medicine. You are lost to ask them, and they can tell you. Good. Okay, so when you ask one student, so at this level, what do you know about medicine? You will realize that this girl, this boy is more knowledgeable than you. Why? Because the father, the uncle, the auntie owns a state-of-the-art hospital with the latest medical equipment. And from childhood up to now when they are in level 100, they've been going to the hospital with the father every day when they are on holiday to see how the medical field is. So here, even if they are coming to get a degree, they are just coming to get a paper so that they can now push the paper to say, I'm a medical doctor. But they know more than you, so don't undermine them. And these days, they can laugh at you too. You come and read theories. You see them laughing. The definition is wrong. Oh. I saw the way he shivered when he wanted to get. He is not prepared. She's not prepared for this lecture. I call them the Y.com generation. So if you don't match up with them, you're on trouble. They'll give you names. They'll laugh at you because you have exposed yourself. My policy, by the way, I also taught in a university for about 13 years before I became a director of quality assurance in the university system. Then I came to continental level to the association. So I'm talking about things that I know. It's not that I've not been there. So, technical universities, if your government is not doing it through the Ministry of Employment, do it yourself. The skills gap analysis. The skills gap analysis. You can't all say, oh, technical university, they've started this program in what, and so let's also do it. Do your own. Do your own, because there are so many more programs that are needed. We can't have 10 technical universities offering the same degree programs. Very soon you flood the market. There are many more things that are there, but immediately I want to say, for every curricular review and every degree program that you are doing, you need an ICT component on it. Make sure every program, psychology, sociology, music, graphics, what have you, engineering, there should be an ICT component. If not, you will see the paper say they half-baked graduates. Don't deny it. Don't deny it when they say half-baked graduates. Why? Because now when go into the industry, the ICT component is prevalent. Everything is digitalized. The workspaces are digitalized. And so this is where they are going. So if yours do not have that component, they are half-baked. And I will sing that song with the industry. Right. Just to round off very quickly, I'm told I've got now maybe 6 minutes. Benchmarking. Don't be too ambitious. So far, for technical universities, Germany is one of the countries with the best TVET system in the universities, in the colleges, in the polytechnics. You can check what they are doing, but you may not be able to jump there. Please, you choke yourself. Oh, don't jump too much. Do it one level at a time. If you are in Ghana, benchmark with another African country. And then you go to benchmark with another university in another continent until you benchmark with the best universities. What are they doing? What are you doing? That's benchmarking. Okay, what is it that they are doing which we are not doing? And then you take that on board. Hey, my time, oh. Hold on. Why I said that technical universities, you should not cry that you don't have funds to buy equipment, to add more buildings, and you are waiting for government's cake which is dwindling. It's because you are in the field which has been proven throughout the world that it is the one which can drive the economies. All the economies can be driven by TVET. Those in construction, they want the welding skills, they want the glazing, they want the... Everybody wants something from TVET. So, please, pull up your socks. Third stream income, I link it up with I call completing the research process. I didn't have adequate time to look into this, but let me say a general statement. What is in here? Put up your hand. If you researched on something that can be patented or where we can have a copyright, put up your hand quickly. Hello. Yes, I see a hand there. Please rush to the front. I'm given 5 minutes. Oh, the person is not coming. Are you coming? Okay. Whatever it is, you come. We want to complete the research process. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not want research for promotion. No, 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 no. We don't want research for promotion. That has killed the whole thing. Just a simple research. For promotion, you are doing a research that has already been done. You are doing saturated areas. You are not going to ideation. Ideation where you give yourself quality time to think. Congratulations to that university which said, I saw the yellow, what do you call it, the tricycle? Which stand is that, please? Cape Coast, congratulations. Oh, the guy told me they changed it into solar driven. The guy told me they changed some features. It was yesterday, so I've forgotten. But that component alone of removing it from being petrol-driven to solar-driven, you get a patent for that. It's like our phones. There were cameras earlier on, but the one who designed a camera which could be compatible with a smartphone, it's a patent. Something that can give you money. Universities, please, don't showcase your patents before you start the patenting process. You know, let me say, it's not that I hate anybody who is not black or... Please, when you have an event and you have more other colored skin people, it's because they know you are not smart. So they come, they ask you, what is this? So this is a wheelchair which we have made. And instead, if you have a person who is not feeling well, we have created this wall. So you just push the wheelchair, place the person onto the toilet, and they help themselves without you now always lifting them. And what? They rush, they go, design it, start patenting it, they become their intellectual property. From you, while you are here, that is the part which makes me cry if I can cry. I'm telling you, you are doing lots and lots of valuable things, but you are not using them. you are not completing the research process. In my country, by the way, I'm a Zimbabwean. So when we get there, we now have education 5.0. Education 5.0, it means research, teaching and learning, community engagement, industrialization and commercialization and industrialization. And when we talk of commercialization and industrialization, we are saying for every research that you do, go to the end of the research chain, which is intellectual property, either a copyright in software or what, music and anything, and then patents, intangible products. What stops you from doing that? What is it that you are lacking? No, let's do the smooth talks, so which are a bit rough, or they help. We can't remain in our comfort zones. Competitions. I said there's the lady there, one lady who said what she researched on, which is captured here, can be intellectual property. But I want to challenge you today to say that we need institutional competitions. This year, you say, we want to produce this product or these two products. Other than writing papers, or from the papers, the very, very good papers, now follow them so that you do prototypes, you do actual products, and you can push them into the market and start selling them. So what is it you need to do? You need to have practical competitions of those who will come up with the best product. All institutions will do that. And then I think in the interest of time, I can't even show the slides, which is it so, Ajman? I'm running out of time. I can't even show any single slide, but what I know is that what I've said is in there, although I would have wanted to. But can I just refer just to that slide alone? Just that alone. Sorry, please. Right. What is it saying? Higher education, government, and industry in meaningful engagements. So because people don't go by university industry, no. If you leave out government, you leave them for good. Put them in that equation. I don't know. Higher education plus government plus industry equals to what? I don't know. But you need to do curricular design and review together. You need to do training, lectureship, role modeling, special guest provisions, internships, he has said it, jobs, projects, collaborations together. And if you do that, you really mean well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. We can do it again for Dr. Vala Makuku. Thank you so much, Doc. So we'll have a special moment for discussion, but before that, we'll have our fifth plenary session. This will be coordinated by Engineer Seth Mehu, Director of Renewable Energy. But let me just give a short intro about him now. He's an engineer with 20 years of reputable experience in renewable energy and energy efficiency policy planning and implementation, design of renewable energy systems, and renewable energy project development and management. He is a member of the Ghana Institute of Engineers. Ghana Institution of Engineers. Thank you very much, sir. At this moment, let's put our hands together and welcome Engineer Seth Mehu, Director of Renewable Energy, Ministry of Energy, on the topic technological innovations in engineering. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, MC. I would also want to stand on the existing protocols to set the stage for our next engagement. I see a few faces that I'm quite familiar with here. I would want to acknowledge one of them, Professor Hunyanuga from Ho Technical University. I was with him a couple of weeks ago to commission some innovative project that is creating the platform for capacity development in the area of renewable energy. So I'm happy to see you here, Prof, this morning. I have some slides, so please, if you can help me with the slides. Otherwise, I have to set up my own PC for that. If I can have is Dr. Florence here? Yes, I've given them to. By the way, Madam, thanks so much for that presentation. You've touched on so many sensitive nerves. I think the difference between what we are doing here and what our colleagues on the other side are doing is that we are not able to translate the things we learn here into values that would command their own returns. That is the difference. So I believe strongly that if, as institutions, if we are able to go a step further, to get the things we're doing through research and development, get them to the marketplace, we should be in the position to be able to create value, create wealth, which also ties in very well with the earlier speaker who spoke about entrepreneurship. And with that, we'll be able to create the wealth and, if possible, win ourselves from government subventions.
Yeah, so your slides are ready. 15
Good.
minutes.
So when I was asked to, look at technological innovations in engineering, I was wondering, what am I going to be talking about? Because it's such a broad area. If we look at the various engineering disciplines we have, from civil, mechanical, medical, financial, materials engineering, each of these disciplines has evolved so much that if we want to just talk about innovations in each of these disciplines, believe you me, it's going to take us a very long time to be able to do that. We all know that engineering has become the foundation for engineering has become the foundation for our existence. Engineering provides us with solutions to everyday life problems that we face. For example, if we take this auditorium, we are able to achieve some thermal comfort because of engineering. You look at the acoustics from sound engineering. You look at the ceiling fans from electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. All this put together is able to solve a problem for us. Even the very instrument that I'm using to communicate with you is engineering. So engineering is the bedrock for so many things that we do as human beings. And we have seen innovations in so many areas of engineering, particularly in the area of automation and artificial intelligence. I traveled the other time to Kumasi. I went to some magazine and I visited a few artisans there who are producing clean cook stoves. And these guys are using what we call cold technology to be able to form structures and put a clay in it, which is able to give them so much thermal efficiency, and they're able to create value out of that. But guess what? They are using very crude approach to do this. Whereas you go to the other side, go to Asia, you go to one small factory, through automation, one person, two people are able to produce so much or so many cook stoves within a very short time. So if you look at productivity, you will see that engineering is not really playing the role that we expected it to play with respect to how we do things in our part of the world. And this is a challenge to us as academic institutions, to be able to bridge the gap between what we are doing and those out there, the business people, the entrepreneurs, so that the knowledge we have acquired from here, we can translate it and use it to impact what they are doing. If you come to artificial intelligence, a lot is happening in that space. How are we translating that into wealth creation? Are we just being taught in books? We live here and that is the end of it. I think we need to go a step further. But this morning, I would want to focus on an interesting aspect. Can you please just roll over? So I'm looking at additive engineering. I believe this is something we are all familiar with. Additive engineering had its foundation from what we call sculpturing. If we look at how we carve things, we have two main approaches. We have the additive and then the substrate. Additive, we are talking about putting materials, different layers together to be able to achieve a particular form. And this is something that has lived with us for many, many, many years ago. But we have not been able to develop and advance it and own it as our own technologies. No. As Madam stated, we left this out for somebody to come and study it, and today they have patented it, and we have to go and learn how to use this technology to produce things. It's, by definition, we are saying that it is an innovative technique of putting materials together in layers, and our ability to be able to create things, design, develop things out of that, to form shapes that we have never been able to do through traditional engineering. That is what we're referring to as adaptive or additive manufacturing. So for example, if you go into the renewable energy industry, as we can see from here, look at this shape. This is something we are quite familiar with. Just drive along the Jimpa stretch. You see people coming out with formworks. They put sand and cement. They are able to come out with pots that mimic this structure. But today, with additive manufacturing capability, you can do this without going through that arduous or difficult, process. If you look at this structure, sorry. If you look at this structure, before, it was so difficult to create structures like this that will give you the strength you need for a particular product. If you look at airports, the way they are designed, the architecture, and the complexity of it, yet we are able to stabilize the structure and we're able to carry loads, both dynamic and dead, on such structures. It is through this level of engineering. Yes, so roll for me. We have seen so much innovations in engineering. For example, you take ICT. Back in the days, when we had the IBM 350, the structure was so huge to be able to store just a small amount of data. But today, through the solid state drives or technology, small systems, small drivers, we are able to store much, much more bigger information. As you can see over there, the IBM 350, you look at the height of the machine, it's even taller than the man standing in front of it. But look at the solid state drive today. It's so small and it's able to store in terabytes. That is the innovations that we are making in ICT. And as Madam illustrated, if ICT do not form part of the things we are doing, it becomes very difficult for us to really make our innovations visible and make them competitive. I would want to go to energy, where I work mostly. If you take solar energy, for example, back in the days, solar cells, the efficiencies that we could talk about was just about 6%. And there was this, notion that we cannot use solar to do much. So we only limited it to key areas. But today, through research and innovation, we are able to achieve efficiencies beyond 20% because of advancement in materials, because of advancement in manufacturing, and additive technology is playing a key role in this area. If we go into the area of wind energy, back in the days, this is how we started. We're only using windmills, to grind. We're only using windmills to grind grains. But today, through technology, we have been able to move beyond just grinding grains into using wind energy to produce power. I recall very well when I was a student in Germany, and I had the opportunity to do my internship with Enercon, which is one of the leading wind turbine manufacturing companies in the world. At the time, the highest capacity that we could talk about was 1.5 megawatts. That was in 2006, not long ago. 2006, the biggest wind turbine converter that we had on the market was 1.5 megawatts. But today, as we speak, we have one turbine with a nameplate capacity of about 16 megawatts. And all these have come about because of the advancement we've made in additive engineering. If you look at the blade of the turbine, which is the most important part of it, because the length of your blade tells you how much of the energy you can produce. The blades are so long. The diameter is more than 100 meters. And it is sitting on that small nacelle, as we can see, that small nacelle. If additive engineering, which allows us to put different layers of materials and be able to form them into shapes that we like or that suit our design, if we had not made advancement in this area, it would be very difficult for us to be able to achieve this feat. Look at the Airbus 380. The size of the wing and the strength of it is that ability to be able to put different materials together and turn them into shapes that suits you. In fact, I call it the organic way of doing things. I recall very well, ladies and gentlemen, when I traveled to China before the COVID, I went to Shenzhen, and when I landed in that airport, I looked at the architecture of that airport, and it mimicked the jellyfish. And you ask yourself, how were they able, or how are they able to, stabilize all these curvy structures? It's through this innovative engineering. So I think as an institution or as technical universities, we need to begin to focus efforts on how to build capacity in this very crucial area we're referring to as additive engineering and manufacturing. I remember very well back in the days at KNUST, we had a small CNC machine, lathe machines, computer numerical control machine. And when this lathe machine was set up, all they could allow us to do was to go near it and watch it. And that was the end of it. none of us had the opportunity to even attempt writing simple algorithm, simple programs, to feed into this machine and see if we can turn out shapes that we envisage or that we dream in our minds. But when I went to Germany, it was a common thing. You sit behind your computer, you do your modeling, you look at your shape, you write your simple program. You feed it into the machine, you are able to cut a piece of material that suits your imagination. And I think it's about time we begin to dream to that level and giving opportunity to our smart students and lecturers to be able to tap into these emerging technologies and get the best out of it for us as a country. If you come to nuclear energy, we've seen so much advancement in that sector. I recall very well when in the 1950s, 1960s, the first president of this country was talking about nuclear energy. That was the Generation 1 reactors. And I believe we are all familiar with what Generation 1 reactors are. At the time, if we had embraced that as a country, as a society, I believe strongly that by now we would have caught up with the rest of the world. Because we've moved from Generation 1 to Generation 2. We are now at 3+, and Generation 4 technologies are already on the drawing board. Countries like China, Japan are working very fast to be able to come up with these technologies. And when we get to that level, when fusion becomes the order of the day, you would need just like this size of fuel, and you'll be able to power the whole of Ghana. Just a bottle, 350 mils, will be able to power, give you so much megawatts of power that we can what? Use to power our industry, power our economic development. So it's important that we look at what is happening. And I would agree with Madam very well that we shouldn't see our positions as opportunity to create barriers and lord over people. No. Let's rather use that position to create bridges that bring people together, that allow students to, demonstrate their innovative capabilities. If you come to the ministry, in my department, for example, I have a couple of young engineers there, and I've told them that when I came to the ministry some 15 years ago, the things we used to do is policy. And then in few instances, we look at projects. But I want us to go beyond that. If you take institutions like the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in the US, the sort of things they are doing to develop tools, models that we go online and download and use without even understanding the science behind it. I want us to begin to look at things in that perspective. So you are not just here to be looking at policy, just here to be looking at projects, but let us look at everyday problems and come up with solutions that people out there can rely on, because we have the resources. If I need data, it's very easy for me to get it. Therefore, if you sit at the ministry, don't only focus on policy, but also begin to go into things that would create value. Let's develop tools. Let's develop softwares that can help industry function effectively. And these are the things we also expect from our institutions. The gentleman from GMPC says something that GMPC would only want to put their money where there will be a return. It's a normal practice. I wouldn't want to put money into a research that will not give me any return. Therefore, we should look at things from that angle and focus on issues, everyday issues, that we think we can use engineering innovations to provide solutions and get value, get returns, get money for that. So Ghana, we talked about nuclear, 1950, 1960, but we are still here, not a single reactor. And I know it's not a comfortable subject to be discussing at this gathering, but it's something we have to do anyway if we want to industrialize, if we want to change our economic status from a GDP per capita of about $2,000 to one that to be about 10,000, where we can say we are truly a middle income country, we need to have a solid energy, system to be able to run that. And nuclear will provide us solutions. So the earlier we begin to embrace it and looking at the problems it has, and these problems should give us solutions, and begin to research into the solutions, which could become 10 moments for universities like you, the better it will be for all of us. We come to battery technologies. Battery technologies. We want to strengthen our grids. We've seen so much innovations in storage. Over the years, we've used storage systems to run small energy, systems. For example, solar systems, you have a small battery. If the sun is not there, you get some power from it, that sort of thing. But through innovation, and also again, material science and additive production, we have been able to go beyond the normal things we know, and we are now producing utility scale storage systems. And these systems are now helping grid operators to be able to operate their grids seamlessly. So for example, at Kratenka University, you can look at your feeder that comes here and put a big battery storage system there, and that will allow you to put more solar panels on your rooftop, and that can address all your power needs here. Anytime there's a dip, the battery responds. Anytime there's a dip, the battery responds to make sure you're able to even out your output. And these are smart ways of combining, putting technologies together. So you put a bit of solar, you put a bit of battery, and you're able to get a solution that addresses your issues for you. If you look at lithium, for example, before we're talking about lead acid batteries, in fact, this has been the evolution of batteries. We moved from lead acid, and now we are at lithium ion, and there are more technologies coming up. One thing is interesting. If you take a mobile phone, for example, you can drain your mobile phone to zero. Just put it back, you're able to charge the battery. And that is what lithium is able to give us as a technology. When you take lead acid, you cannot do that. You can only discharge up to a certain level, and it ends there. But with lithium, you can go to 90% depth of discharge and be able to bring the chemistry back within a short period of time. Why can't we research into this? I've just been told that we've discovered some lithium deposit in Ghana. What role is our Tenka universities playing? What role are we playing? Are we going to sit down, fold our arms, and let the people from the other side come, take this raw material away, go and process it and give us finished products? I think we should begin to respond. We should rise up to the occasions. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to touch base briefly on hydrogen. The government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Energy, is coming out with energy transition plan. This plan is looking at how we can transition our energy economy from a high carbon polluting one to a low carbon one, or be able to achieve a net zero by 2070. What opportunities do you think this is creating for our universities? Energy transition. What opportunities can we create out of this through innovation, through engineering? Take hydrogen, for example. Hydrogen is going to become the fuel of the future, because it does not give us CO2 when you use it in ICE. You don't get CO2 at the exhaust. No, it's water. So this is going to be the fuel for the future. How are we positioning our universities, especially the technical universities? Because back in Germany, the TUs are in fact, I would say the most powerful institutions, because they are able to develop the manpower that bridges that gap for development. So how are we positioning ourselves to be able to tap into these technologies? So we can say that Whole Technical University, Accra Technical University, or all the 16 technical universities we have in Ghana, they have the capability to produce hydrogen to support Ghana's energy transition agenda. You can produce it from renewable energy. As we see there, you can produce from solar, they call it, is it green hydrogen? Yes. If you produce from natural gas, they call it blue hydrogen. And they have different acronyms for it. But at the end of the day, it's hydrogen that we want to produce. So the feedstock, we all know it. The chemistry, we know it. So what is preventing us from being able to turn this into a valuable commodity? Let's all reflect over this. On that note, I'd want to say thank you very much. As we move towards technologically advanced society, we need institutions like you to be able to correspond and rise up to the occasion. On that note, I think we are good to start the conversation. Thank you very much.
We can do it better for him. Put your hands together for him. So as he said, it has begun. The conversation has begun. And I would want to invite our chairperson up here to just open up for discussions for the moment. So put your hands together for him as he makes his way up here to open up his remarks and your remarks.
Thank you very much, and thank you for presenters. The GNPC guy has stepped out. He's on a call. That was a great presentation from him. One thing was missing from that presentation. That was a lecture complex for CCTU. Oh, he's here. So, GMPC man, I think the only thing missing from your presentation, I think we've discussed that, and so you were inserted in your presentation somehow. Amen. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the 3 presentations. I think that just a minute, let me find out a few things. You made some interesting observations and a few things you said from the first speaker, Dr. Kwame Ba Nwankwo, about the fact that we don't have industries that are able to stand the test of time. They collapsed. First generation and it's ended. Are unable to move to the next generation because of trust issues. And so there was no continuity. You talked about the lack of soft skills. I talked about re-elution, and that's an interesting word. We hope it finds its way into the dictionaries. And then we had a spirited presentation from our dear lady from Zimbabwe, who's more of a Ghanaian now. And there were 4 main things which you focus on: the culture, the attitude, the mindset, and the way things are done, spirited performance. And you admonished us a great deal as technical universities. I think we've taken the admonition. And the last presenter on energy, and then you talked of additive manufacturing and gave a definition for additive manufacturing, and you think that if you can go into additive manufacturing, it will help us go a very long way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard them all. I think that you may have some questions that you will want to ask them. You may also have some comments and maybe some other things you want to add to their presentation. So I don't know if these are comfortable enough. GMPC man, I wouldn't want to take you from a comfortable seat and bring you to this hard thing, but it would be good if you would all come forward so that we can see your faces and then properly engage you. It's not meant to be
What we'll do is that they can be seated, and when the questions are thrown,
it will be good to
okay, then we'll bring it up. Yes. Thank you so much. So we'll do that.
I think so. You're not supposed to ask me any questions. All the questions are to be directed to the presenters. Right, I see a couple of hands up. Let me be a bit biased. Start from Cape Coast Technical University. Steve. Yeah. And mics, please. MC.
Okay, thank you very much. My question would go to Doc Vliet. Yes, madam. And it's on the issue of the third stream income, which is coming from patents and those products. And you quickly made mention of the fact that at this point, we should try to complete the research cycle, which is to say that the focus should be on how do we exploit the research we do into some tangible product, and that research should not focus on publications. On just promotion. Yes, promotion. We did a presentation yesterday, at our during the section. We actually presented on third mission. So when you mentioned third stream, it actually did connect to what we did. And we tried to look at the report that converted the polytechnics to technical universities. And they observed that one of the real failures of the polytechnics was the fact that they really drifted on their mandate. And so when we became polytechnics, we find that there was a disproportionate focus on teaching compared to research. We did so much teaching, research was really not so much of the equation in the polytechnics. Now, when we became the technical universities, we have seen research coming up. But I see a risk that the research is
Can you wind up? Yes.
But the risk is that the research we are doing, the focus seems to be for promotion. And I say that because some colleagues didn't actually want to attend this conference because they say, when you present in a conference,
Steve,
you get half.
Still, please.
Okay,
we run out
you
of
get
time.
half. Instead of presenting the same thing to a journal, to get one for the purpose of what? Promotion. I want to find out what you think we can do to change that kind of trend. So that it could be an incentive for people to be part of the practical things we have to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Very quickly.
More.
Okay.
I think we can take the more and then collect them, then we can just proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My first one goes to my friend from the Ghana Institute of Engineering. 5 years ago, I went to Arusha, Tanzania. I came to the Energy Commission, just like the Ghana GAEC. When they spoke about Ghana with passion, that we have taken the lead, they have been learning from us, right from Dr. Nkrumah's time up to now, even they have been coming here. But I want to find out from you, what prevented us from what Nkrumah wanted to do, developing the nuclear to produce energy for Ghana? Why we neglected that? That's the first one. The second one is on volunteerism. These days, the spirit of volunteerism is not very much felt in our youth, in our staff. What we realize is that if you want the person to sacrifice to do a work, you may not get a person. Any assignment at all, you him or her, give me allowance. Sometimes even pay the allowance before I start, which is not good enough. One classic example was that just short one. 2006, we were writing a proposal for poverty alleviation in the Sunyani municipal area. So when you got to your point, everybody stopped. So Dr. Nsiajaba, now Professor Nsiajaba, he told me that, Obo, don't worry, go on. Just put the things together. We did that, lo and behold, and we got approval from the Canadian government. That was the first time I traveled outside to Canada. For 3 weeks, I've got to pay them so many things in addition to the volunteer work that I did. So you can imagine those who have put allowances first before them. It is an advice that when you volunteer, eventually you even get more. Thank you very much.
Snappy questions.
Yes, thank you very much. I think this one goes to Dr. Banyako. I think apart from volunteerism that you are talking about, you have also been mentored. Because I worked with you and your father at NDPC some years ago, and I think the output that you are providing, mentorship, has drawn so much on you. And therefore, I think per your submission, there's a need for technical universities. So a majority of us here, we haven't gone to the industry. So when we get opportunity, some few advice, we should go to the industry where our expertise are, then learn from the current issues, so that when we are coming to, or when we come to do the teaching, it should be practically oriented one. It should be more theory. And the last one is about the publications. We shouldn't publish mainly for promotion. If you do this, we will be local champions. When you are writing proposals, sometimes they look at the areas you have even published and gives you the opportunity. It is not necessarily that you should look for promotion, or that you are writing or article should be geared towards promotion. When you do that, you'll be missing the point. Thank you very much.
Sorry, let me give you a chance.
Thank you very much. My name is Selikem. I'm not a technical person, but I want to ask this question. If you are not a technical person and you have an idea as to how to solve a particular problem, what can you do?
I believe we can.
I think we can take the first set of questions and then we'll go for a second round.
All right.
Thank you. So, colleagues.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I think I'm glad for this opportunity, because it gives me an opportunity to say some of the things I couldn't say in the interest of time. Oh, no. So, in terms of third stream income, I want to talk about the intellectual property, which I said that we need to complete the research process. So this is a partnership of the institution, the lecturers involved, and the students. I can say one time when let me give practical examples so that you know it can happen very quickly. Some students got a snake venom treatment in Bindura University of Science of Education. So when they got the snake venom treatment, they worked with the lecturer in chemistry and biology to make sure now that it can be refined and the dosage is established. After that, the university went in to help with the patenting process of intellectual property. That's when we jumped in to develop a policy, research and intellectual property policy, so that at least we know the percentage to be given to the initiator, the percentage to be given to the institution and everybody else. So that's how, and you start selling the snake venom treatment. I want to talk of grants, third stream income. Do you know something? I said the Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Lots of grants are flouting out there and with no takers, because you don't know where that there are grants which are there. Lots of money is going down the drain. You need to have at least an officer who is responsible for checking the grants, or in your department you have time to do it. You apply for those grants, but they need a good research skill. If your staff do not have good research skills, you will continuously write grant proposals and they are rejected. So we are here to workshop you on that. Go to industry, yes, you need to. Actually, the teaching should be like 1 quarter teaching, 3 quarters practical. I want to ask you, where are the distinctive theses and dissertations for masters and PhD, where are they? Where are they? If they were genuine and relevant, why are you not holding your graduate to the relevant? Is it tourism? Is it food manufacturing? Is it energy? Is it engineering? Why are you not taking those theses and dissertations, which are, they are money? Registrar, STU, what are they? They are money. Okay, the last one, she said, if I've got an idea, what do I do? In my country, there's the Econet, which is an internet service provider. So what they did, a cleaner. And that's why I said, not because of your position at work, that you are new at work, your age or gender. All those are not excuses. Take your tech idea to the VC or to the relevant department, and then they will convert it into what you are saying. So when we have the call me back, I hear it was a cleaner. So they then take it and do the algorithm. So I'm not also into science. And then we now have the call me back on the phone. So go ahead, see your Vice Chancellor today.
Okay, let me, my friend, let me comment on the volunteer and the mentoring thing. So he refers to myself and my dad. So my father is also a professor of economics. And he was my colleague at the Department of Economics, because we're all lecturing. Is that not being colleagues? So we're all colleagues. But before I became his colleague, I was his student. And then at the NDPC, the thing he was talking about, he was supposed to write a chapter every year in the annual progress report. He was responsible for the macroeconomic session. And I was a student of economics. So this is what the point, let me make the point before I explain. That you cannot mentor somebody who doesn't want to be mentored. You cannot mentor somebody who doesn't want to be mentored. So it goes back to volunteering. I volunteered my services for my father for free while he was paying my school fees. But at that time, I could have done something else. He was prepared to mentor me, but I was ready to be mentored. So I was writing that section for him for free, the whole chapter. I would do all the research and write, and the professor of economics will review it, take it to NDPC and collect the money. That's how he started. Then it got to a stage he decided that I would take 40% and he would take 60% of the money, the work that I've done, because I do it. He only reads through. But of course, if he doesn't make those corrections, he doesn't pass. Then as I moved on 2 years later, I moved from 40-60 to 60-40. Because he realized now I was big enough to have done it, gone looking for my own. So to still convince me to stay on, it became 60 for me and 40 for him. Until NDPC themselves realized that I was good enough to do something on my own. So they gave me my own chapter. You see, so I'm now taking 100%. So I started by volunteering, allowed myself to be mentored till I got to the stage where I was called a consultant of my own. So we need to go through that. You can't just jump from being an undergraduate and become a consultant. You have to be mentored, but you need to offer yourself to be mentored first. I was prepared to take 0 and do the whole work because it's my father, or the work belongs to somebody. Then I went to 40-60. I went to 60-40 till I could get 100%. It's just the same concept I use. Maybe let me use that to comment on the issue of trust that I brought up. When I was a young boy, this one nobody should go and tell my father, because nobody should report this on radio. Because when I was a young boy, I was supposed to wash my father's clothing. I was wondering why my mom is not the one still washing. My father insisted that I wash it. Then you know when these people start making money, they always leave money in their pockets. So this is how I built it. And so the first period, the first few months, whatever I find in the pocket, I go and give him 100%. Isn't it? Then I progressed to 30, 70. Because now my father knows. I'm talking about trust. It got to a stage, it was zero going back to him. Because now he knew that if he finds something, if I had found something in the pocket, I would have brought it. So you need to learn to build trust before you start making money. So I built a trust, 100% to him and 0 to me, 30% to me, 70 to him, 70% to me, 30 to him, then I 0 to him, 100% to me. I built trust. So now...
Thank you very much. So we need to build trust. Mentor-mentee relationship should be built on trust. There was a question. I would want to respond to your question again, whether you have to have some technical background to be able to convert your ideas into, actuals. I don't think there is any theory that has established that. No. Great ideas that have become the greatest solutions we have today did not come from people with technically sound backgrounds, So once you have the idea, the first thing you do is note it, write it down, and begin to read around it. That is how you build capacity, and that's how you're able to, convert that idea into solutions. And I would want to make this a call to our institutions that we should go the extra mile to establish ideas or innovation incubation centers. Let's have these platforms well-resourced so that people with brilliant ideas can go there to get some support. We need that. Then on the question on nuclear, why haven't we, or what happened that we couldn't realize our first nuclear, ambition? I think we all know the reason. It was due to the fact that the geopolitical situation at the time did not favor us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know we are far behind time, but we want to take 2 more questions, and then that will be it. One gentleman, one lady, and that will be it.
So,
we are far behind time. One gentleman, he already has the mic.
Yes.
So please carry on.
Yes, please. Engineer said, is the same geopolitical condition still prevailing now? That is why we can't realize our nuclear ambition. From 1966, are we still having the same conditions now? Be thinking about that. Doc.
I think that we
that one is not a question.
far behind time.
I asked him to be thinking about it. My question is coming. Doc, I think that your investment into the technical investors should be more. The traditional investors have had enough of the national cake. So I think that this is the time. The reason we are bringing you here is strategic in nature. We don't want you to come back to the academia. Just be there so that you can support these innovations in the technical investors so that we can realize our dream. Thank you very much.
Point noted.
I'm Jennifer Entry, Accra Technical University. This question goes to Dr. Nyama. Please, without the library, all that you are doing can't go ahead. So please, as you are sharing the cake, remember the library, because we are there to support research. And we are there to support teaching, learning, and scholarship. So remember the library. Thank you.
Good point.
Final question.
Good morning. I'm Florence Blocky from ATU. Please, I just want to make a comment to support where Dr. Makoko has been saying. This has been my concern all along. I'm from public university. I just joined the technical university. And so coming here, I want to see a difference. I want to see different. Yeah, they are all the technical investors and the older investors. We are more into research. But here, I want to see more innovations, more hands-on, more technological things. And I'm happy what happened yesterday. Anytime I go to meetings, this is what I've been hammering on. We are always chasing the impact factors. We want to be the first. We want to be I think we will sway the path for our technical mandates as technical investors. So, Prof. Chairman is here. If I'm able to come out with certain innovation, it should qualify me for promotion.
Yes.
I think.
But we don't hammer on that. I am always looking at publications. Anyway, thank you very much. That is my
okay. That's a fair comment, yes. But I think we already acknowledge that.
Okay.
Right. I think there's only been one question.
Maybe I want to, on the basis of that, I wanted to reiterate something that Doc said in her earlier presentation. I'm in industry. I'm looking for new ideas. Excuse me.
Excuse me. Can we have one meeting, please?
Hello.
Thank you very much. Please
industry is always looking for new ideas. That's where the innovation is. But Doc said, we don't see a lot of competition. Convert an idea into a prototype or something. Industry, and I'm saying this from a GMPC point of view. If annually I see an event where the universities are competing amongst themselves on technology and showcasing what they have done, it's probably, I'll spend more money sponsoring that event probably than the workshop. Because I want to see practical things. And I want to see what new ideas are coming up in my own area. And if you put your young people to compete amongst themselves, that's where we find the best. And industry will pay for those patents. Like she said, by the time you exhibit it, probably you've already patented it. So when I come as industry and I'm seeing what you are competing in, and I want it, you already have the patent for it, isn't it? So I have to pay you for what you have already done. But it has to be showcased for me to see. And that's what she talks about, the competition. So maybe as part of the next conference, apart from the exhibitions that you've done here, let's see a session where you have brought your students along, showcasing what you, the student leaders, have taught them and how they are using their young, innovative minds to come up with something, and ask me to select the best. When you ask me to select the best, what you're invariably saying is that I should fund that idea. When you say I should select the best as one of the judges, you are asking me to fund that. So if I put 500,000 Ghana cedis as the first prize, what I'm saying is that I'm voting for that project, and they should spend, there's the money, take the money and go and spend it and make something out of it.
Okay, very quickly also, I want to talk about what the lady said. The chairman said it's already acknowledged, but I know where the problem is. The problem is on the promotion criteria. So if you are not awarding more marks on those who do, this problem, it has come to me many times. So for promotion, you are looking at research, and a research paper, you give it more value than a patent. I've never seen such. Because a patent, we talked about building it into a prototype. From a prototype, you get a product which you can commercialize and push into the market for industrialization. Promotion, you are given maybe $100 more. But what of where a university is now selling a whole product to the whole nation and exporting some? You can see that it's better that you add more marks on promotion. Library, e-resources, please. Don't continue to bring hard copies. You won't find many students in the library these days. Oh, no. E-resources, more of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So back to the gentleman who said if the geopolitical situations have changed, even if they did, they will never be in our favor. We as a country, we must know what we want and pursue it. For example, we're talking about energy transition. The president has been very clear on that our energy transition must be just and equitable, i.e., we have to continue to explore our natural resources. So if we want to go into nuclear and we think it's going to help transform our economy, we have to pursue it rigorously. I recall last year when we were in COP26, the discussions about coal, etc., was virtually non-existent. Nobody was talking about it. But look at what has happened recently, just because of Russia and Ukraine. Everybody is trying to go back to their pits. So let's use what we have and have it best to develop our economies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, presenters. I think I'll just make this comment. I don't think it's done anywhere where a research paper or publication will be awarded more marks than a patent. No,
what I ate,
no,
Chairman.
it's not true. It's not true. We would never do that. Having said that, I think that we need to applaud the presenters. I know there are many more questions you would want to ask, but they are around. You can walk up to them and ask them any question at all. Thank you very much for your contribution, audience, and thank you once again,
Put your
presenters.
hands together for the panel. Well done. The chairman, well done. Well coordinated. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So we'll have one very last engagement, and then we'll now pass out for our snack break and then go into our parallel sessions. We'll take this presentation from the African Jobs Board from the AAU. So let's give them a few minutes to present to us on their project. So I would want to kindly ask for your audience for the Africa Jobs Board as they make their presentation. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good morning. We'll take just 10 minutes of your time since you want to quickly go for snacks. My name is Frank Asefua. I'm a project manager at the Association of African Universities. I manage the project I'm coming to talk about. This is my assistant. He's Saliu Larry Adams. He assists me on the project as well. I have another team member around who would be passing some notes to you. So I wanted to briefly tell you about the African Jobs Board platform and why it's important that you use it. So in 2020, we launched this platform called the African Jobs Board, which is basically a jobs hub for academic jobs across the continent, academic and non-academic. So over the time, we've been posting jobs across Africa, PhD opportunities, career opportunities, and country profiles as well to assist people to be able to move in and out of Africa. The main idea is to help to promote academic mobility across the continent so that expertise that are abundant in some parts of the region can also move to another part of the region. For example, there are some expertise in North Africa with regards to medicine, etc., and energy. We see a lot of things Egypt is doing, especially with solar energy, etc. This platform allows us to be able to integrate the expertise across the continent to help us all develop at the same time. Yes. So that is our main objective, to post these jobs onto the platform so that people can see these jobs and apply for them. This is beneficial for your students who would want to enter into academia. This, in the long run, also helps to balance out the wage structure for academics across the continent, because some countries pay more than some countries. Remember, it was all over social media, I think a year ago or so, where a lecturer was being given a role in Ghana, and the wage that he was getting there was quite higher as compared to the senior position he was going to get in Ghana. So it's something that we are also using in order to be able to create this alignment and then assist in there. So The project has 3 partners, which is the Association of African Universities, which is hosted in East Legon around the Trinity Avenue. And we were working with Warwick Employment Group, which is the commercial function of Warwick University in the UK. They also operate a jobs board, which is called jobs.ac. It is very widely used across Europe. And Education Sub-Saharan Africa, which is also another partner which is engaging in Africa to improve academia on the continent. Over the time we created this platform since 2020 November, we've been able to post over 3,000 jobs on the platform. We've been able to have over 257 institutions on the platform. We're also sharing as much as we can on social media, etc. We have over 26,000 people using the platform day in, day out. So the number of emails, plus or minus around 3,800 or 3,900 people have applied for jobs through our platform. We've had over about 40,000 people using the platform day in, day out since we brought this platform up. This platform would really help your institution. It would help your students to be more competitive, to see the skills that are required of them to be competitive on the African continent. It's also helping you as a university to also publish your jobs to get the best out of the best. Normally, you post your adverts in newspapers, you post them because the government says you must post in the newspaper, you must post elsewhere. Those are the only places you post it, your websites and then the newspapers. But that is limited to only Ghana. If someone doesn't buy the paper for that day and he was supposed to be the best person for that job, that means that opportunity has slipped. But if you put it on our platform, you're able to have it seen by a worldwide audience, and you can be able to get the best out of the best to be able to apply for your jobs. So our platform is africa.edujobs.com. You can visit it right now and then see the jobs that are available there. You can filter through the expertise that you have. You can even set up an alert so that from time to time, whenever there's a job in that category, it's sent into your emails directly. It's also beneficial to share this with your students as well, so that they can also get these things, so that it helps you to aid your alumni getting jobs as quickly as possible, because they are already aligning themselves to what is necessary in there. If you have any issues or any questions, email us at africanjobsboard@aau.org. My colleague will be sharing some sheets around, so you could put your name, email, etc. around on it, so that we can contact you after that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So on that note, we'll be taking our snack break, and participants are required to remain seated in the hall. The snack will be served right here, while our dignitaries were expected to move up to the administration block, particularly the council chamber. So we'll take just 10 minutes for the snack break. Hopefully we should resume our parallel sessions by 11:30. By 11:30 we resume our parallel sessions, and I'm sure we know our venues and where we are supposed to be. Thank you.
Thank you. So registered participants should stay here as they wait for it. Okay, so registered participants should be